The morning sun shone weakly through the clouds, casting a pale light over the small school courtyard. Students were arriving, chatting and laughing, some carrying heavy backpacks, others rushing to reach their first class on time. Among them was a figure that always drew attention, though not in the way anyone wanted. She moved slowly, carefully, in a wheelchair that looked old and worn. Her skin had a faint bluish tint. Her eyes sparkled like distant stars, and her silver hair shimmered slightly in the sunlight. She was not like the other students. She was different, alien. Each day was the same. Every morning, the bullies would wait near the entrance. They would snatch her wheelchair before she could reach the building, hiding it somewhere nearby, laughing at her struggle. No one seemed to notice, or maybe no one wanted to. She had learned to endure it silently, dragging herself across the cold stone paths, using her hands to push and pull herself forward. The whispers, the pointing fingers, and the mocking laughs followed her like shadows. But she never let herself cry in front of them. She never let them see that their words hurt. Today, however, something felt different. She noticed a boy standing across the yard, watching. He was new. She had not seen him before. His hair was messy, chestnut brown, and his eyes were sharp, alert, like he was looking through everyone, seeing things that others could not. He didn't smile. He didn't laugh. He just watched. Her curiosity mixed with caution. She had learned not to trust easily. As she approached the gate, she saw the familiar three bullies. Large, sneering, and cruel. They had already spotted her. "Hey, freak! Where's your chair today?" one of them yelled. A boy named Craig, known for enjoying other people's pain. They grabbed the chair before she could reach it, lifting it over their heads, and threw it into the bushes. Laughter erupted from the group. Her heart beat faster, not from fear, but from frustration. She tried to ignore them, crawling forward with her hands. Every scrape against the stone made her wrists ache. Her face burned with embarrassment. Other students turned to look, some shaking their heads, others whispering behind their hands. But no one stepped in. The new boy stepped forward. He walked calmly, almost silently, weaving through the crowd. The bullies noticed him and smirked, thinking he would leave quickly, just like everyone else. But he didn't. He stopped in front of the alien girl, bending slightly to meet her eye level. "You okay?" he asked, his voice low but firm. She paused, unsure what to say. No one had ever asked her that before. Most people either ignored her or made fun of her. The question caught her off guard. Before she could answer, Craig and his friend stepped closer, cracking their knuckles. "Who's your friend, freak? Trying to be heroic?" Craig sneered. The boy didn't flinch. He picked up the wheelchair from the bushes without any struggle and placed it gently next to her. "Let's get you to class," he said simply. The alien girl blinked in surprise. She wasn't used to kindness, and the sudden act made her heart race. Slowly, she moved into the chair. She could feel the boy's hand steadying it. There was a strange warmth, a human warmth, that made her wonder, could she trust him? The bullies stared, shocked. They had expected fear, tears, or resistance, not calm courage. They stepped back, uncertain. The boy pushed the wheelchair slowly, carefully, making sure she didn't jolt forward. Other students started whispering. Some even pointed, curious. The alien girl noticed their eyes on her, but didn't care. She had a moment of freedom, a small victory. As they reached the classroom door, she felt a strange flutter in her chest. It wasn't fear, but something new. Hope. Maybe not all humans were cruel. Maybe some could be brave, even kind. She looked at the boy, and for the first time, she allowed a small smile. Class started, but her mind wandered. She couldn't stop thinking about him. Why had he helped her? Was it courage, curiosity, or something else? She had always felt alone, even among humans. Now, for the first time, someone had noticed her struggle without mocking it. The boy, meanwhile, took a seat near the window. He watched quietly as the teacher started the lesson, but his attention kept drifting toward her. There was something about her, the way she handled herself despite the constant bullying, the quiet strength in her eyes, and the tiny spark that hinted at something more, something powerful inside her. After the lesson, the alien girl stayed behind slightly, packing her things. The bullies lingered outside the classroom, whispering plans for later. She felt a tension in the air, knowing they weren't done. But now, she wasn't as afraid. The boys' presence gave her a strange kind of courage. During lunch break, the bullies tried again. They waited near the cafeteria, hoping to snatch the wheelchair before she could enter. But this time, she was ready. The boy was by her side, alert and protective. As the bullies approached, one of them lunged for the chair. The boy stepped forward, blocking him with his shoulder. "Back off," he said firmly. The bullies hesitated. They were used to people running away, but this boy was different. His calm determination confused them. They exchanged glances, unsure what to do. Finally, one muttered, "Forget it," and they walked away, muttering insults under their breath. The alien girl exhaled, relieved. She had never felt such safety in a school before. She glanced at the boy. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice barely audible. He smiled slightly. "No problem. You don't deserve this." Her eyes widened. No one had ever said that to her. Most people had laughed or ignored her pain. For the first time, she felt seen. As the day went on, she noticed small things she had never paid attention to before. The boy always kept an eye on her, adjusting his path, so he was near when she needed it. He didn't make fun of her, didn't whisper to others about her. His actions were quiet, but meaningful. After school, as the sun began to set, she wheeled herself toward the exit. The bullies were nowhere in sight. The boy was behind her, walking calmly. "See you tomorrow?" he asked casually. She hesitated, then nodded. "Yeah, tomorrow." As they parted ways, a strange feeling settled in her chest. She didn't know if she could trust him completely, but she wanted to. There was something about humans, about this boy, that she had never experienced before. For the first time, she felt that maybe, just maybe, things could change. That night, lying in her small room, she thought about the day. The bullying, the fear, the small victories in the boy. She wondered why he had helped her when no one else did. Her eyes glimmered faintly in the dark, a tiny sign of the power she kept hidden, the power she had never fully trusted humans with. But she knew one thing for certain: tomorrow, things would be different. She didn't know how, but she felt a shift, a turning point in her life. The boy had ignited something in her, a spark of hope, courage, and curiosity. She wasn't just surviving anymore. For the first time, she felt alive. And somewhere in a quiet part of the school, the bullies were plotting. They didn't know that the day they had underestimated her, and the boy, was the day their power over her started to end. Tomorrow would be the beginning of something new, something unexpected, and she was ready. The next morning, the sky was pale and gray. A soft wind blew through the school courtyard, rustling papers and leaves. The alien girl arrived again, her wheelchair moving slowly over the cracked pavement. Her silver hair shimmered faintly in the light, and her faint blue skin glowed softly, almost like a warning. She knew today would be different. She could feel it in the way the air seemed heavier, charged with tension. As she neared the school entrance, the familiar three bullies were already waiting. Crag, the tallest, held a smirk as if yesterday had been nothing. "Back again, freak," he called, laughing. "Let's see if you can make it this time." The alien girl kept her eyes forward. She had no fear, not really, though her heart beat fast. She knew they would try to take her wheelchair again. Every day, it was the same cruel routine. But today, she wasn't entirely alone. Across the yard, the boy from yesterday was watching. He had arrived early. His chestnut hair fell in messy strands across his forehead, but his eyes were sharp and focused. He saw everything. The bully's smirks, the tension in her shoulders, the way her hands gripped the wheel rims tightly. Without a word, he walked toward the bullies, moving with calm confidence. Crag noticed him and laughed. "Oh, look, your little human hero came back. What, are you going to fight for her too?" The boy didn't respond. He stopped in front of the alien girl, his gaze steady, and held out his hand to help her into the wheelchair. For a moment, the alien girl hesitated. She wasn't used to trust, especially not from humans. But something in his eyes told her he meant no harm. Slowly, she let him guide her. The bully stepped closer, trying to intimidate him, but the boy didn't flinch. His hands were steady as he pushed the wheelchair forward. Other students were watching now, whispering among themselves. Some moved aside to give them space. There was a tension in the air, thick and almost electric, as they moved toward the classroom. One of the bullies tried to grab the chair. The boy blocked him effortlessly, his hand on the bully's shoulder, pushing him back without any struggle. The alien girl's eyes widened in surprise. She had expected people to run or hide, but he stood firm, calm and strong, protecting her without needing to prove anything. When they reached the classroom door, she let out a small sigh of relief. The boy smiled gently. "You don't have to be afraid," he said softly. Her heart fluttered. No one had ever spoken to her that way. Most humans had been cruel, unkind, or distant. But him, there was something different. Something she couldn't explain. She nodded slowly, trusting him for the first time. Class began, but the alien girl's thoughts wandered. She watched him from across the room, noticing the way he subtly stayed near her, alert but not interfering. He wasn't trying to show off or impress anyone. He simply wanted to be there. She felt a strange warmth in her chest, a feeling she had never felt before. Could she trust him completely? She didn't know, but she wanted to. During lunch, the bullies didn't waste any time. They had been watching her since morning, waiting for the perfect moment. As she wheeled toward the cafeteria, they moved in from behind, trying to block her path. "Going somewhere, freak?" Crag sneered. The alien girl gripped the wheels of her chair tightly. Her hands were steady, but her mind raced. She could feel a faint energy under her skin, a subtle pulse of power she had never fully understood. It was small, almost invisible, but was there. She could use it, if needed, to protect herself. Before she could react, the boy stepped forward, positioning himself between her and the bullies. "Leave her alone," he said firmly, his voice echoing across the courtyard. The bullies froze. They weren't used to anyone standing up to them, especially a human boy who didn't flinch. Crag glared at him. "Or what? You'll stop us." The boy didn't move, didn't shout. He simply held his ground. His calm presence was unnerving, almost magnetic. Slowly, the bullies stepped back, muttering insults under their breath. They hadn't expected resistance, and certainly not this kind of quiet confidence. The alien girl wheeled herself past them, her eyes scanning for any sign of threat. She felt a mixture of relief and curiosity. Why was he helping her? Why did he care? Most humans had ignored her or made fun of her, but he seemed different. Over the next few days, a pattern formed. Every morning, the boy was there, waiting. Every time the bullies tried something, he was ready. And every time, he never sought attention or praise. He simply acted, quietly and efficiently, ensuring she reached her classes safely. The alien girl began to notice small things about him. The way he noticed subtle changes in the bully's behavior. The way he could sense tension before it even appeared. She realized he was not an ordinary human. There was a strength in him, a kind of courage and intelligence that few possessed. One afternoon, after school, the bullies tried again. They cornered her in a narrow corridor, smirking, confident that no one would help this time. But the boy appeared from the shadows, as if he had been waiting. "You again!" Crag said, voice dripping with malice. "Think you can stop us every time?" The boy didn't answer. He simply stood beside her, silent but alert. The alien girl could feel a subtle energy stirring within her. It was small, just enough to make objects tremble lightly, but she wasn't ready to fully use it yet. The bullies lunged, but the boy moved first. He blocked them effortlessly, pushing them back without a struggle. His calm strength shocked them. They hadn't expected resistance. They hadn't expected anyone to challenge them like this. Slowly, they stepped back, realizing that this was not going to be easy. The alien girl watched, her eyes wide. For the first time, she felt a sense of safety she had never known. This human boy, he was different. He wasn't just helping her. He was protecting her, understanding her in ways no one else had. After the confrontation, they walked together toward the exit. "Thank you," she whispered, still catching her breath. He shook his head. "No need. You deserve to be treated with respect. That's all." The alien girl paused, absorbing his words. respect, something she had never received from anyone, not even from humans who pretended to be kind. She felt a strange warmth in her chest. Could she trust him? Maybe. She wanted to try. As days passed, the bond between them grew quietly. They didn't talk much, not yet, but there was understanding in their shared glances, in the way he always stayed near, watching, ready, and there was trust, fragile but growing, that slowly took root in her heart. One evening, she sat alone in her room, thinking about the boy. She could feel her power stirring again, faint and flickering, as if responding to the courage he had shown. She realized something important. Maybe she didn't have to hide forever. Maybe she could let someone see who she truly was. At least a little. But the bullies were still out there. They were relentless, cruel, and always planning. They didn't understand that the day they had underestimated her, and the boy, was the day their hold over her started to weaken. The next morning, as the sun rose over the school, she felt a strange sense of anticipation. Something was about to happen. Something big. She could feel it in the air, in the subtle tension between students, in the way the wind whispered through the trees. The boy arrived early as always, standing quietly in the courtyard. When she saw him, she felt a small surge of courage. Together, they could face whatever came next. Together, they could challenge the bullies, challenge the unfairness, and maybe, just maybe, change everything. And she was ready. Tomorrow would be a day of tests, of courage, of trust, and of hidden power. And she knew one thing for certain. She was not alone anymore. The morning air was heavy with tension. Birds rarely sang in the schoolyard today, as if they too sensed that something unusual was about to unfold. The alien girl wheeled herself carefully toward the entrance, her silver hair glinting faintly in the dim sunlight. Her hands gripped the wheels tightly, but her heart felt steadier than usual. The boy was already there, leaning against a wall near the gate, observing silently. Across the yard, the familiar trio of bullies waited. Crag, the leader, had a twisted grin on his face. He and his friends had been humiliated by the boy twice now, and they hated it. Their laughter was forced, strained, masking the fear that lingered beneath their bravado. The alien girl approached, feeling a mix of apprehension and determination. Her mind was sharp, aware of every movement around her. She had grown accustomed to the constant bullying, but today she would not let it define her. Today, she felt different. The bullies lunged immediately, aiming to snatch her wheelchair before she could reach the gate. But the boy was already moving, calm, precise, almost silent. He intercepted them with minimal effort, blocking their path with a firm stance. The alien girl watched, her heart pounding, not from fear, but from awe. "You're not gonna get away this time," Crag snarled, flexing his fists. "We've got a plan, freak. Today it ends." The alien girl's hands twitched slightly. A faint pulse of energy surged beneath her skin. She had never used it before in public. Never. But now, standing next to the boy, she felt a spark of courage, an urge to defend herself, to show them that she was not weak. The bullies advanced, one after the other. The boy didn't move much, just a slight shift here and there, deflecting their attacks with simple, careful movements. The alien girl realized something important. He didn't need to fight aggressively. He was steady, precise, and calm, and that calmness gave her confidence. As Crag swung a fist toward her, she instinctively extended her hand slightly. A small shock of energy pushed him back. It wasn't enough to hurt him seriously, but it was enough to startle him. His grin faltered. His friends froze, exchanging nervous glances. The boy noticed immediately. "Easy," he whispered, almost to himself. "Control it." The alien girl nodded. Her hands tingled. The energy within her was like fire restrained by ice. Powerful, dangerous, but controllable as she focused. She wasn't ready to fully reveal it yet, but she could make small, precise movements to protect herself. Crag tried again, moving faster this time, but the alien girl's small push of energy knocked him off balance. He stumbled back, almost falling. His friends gasped, unsure what just happened. Whispers spread to the nearby students. Something strange was happening, something they didn't understand. The boy stood beside her, steady as ever. "You can handle this," he said softly. "I've got you." The alien girl's heart warmed at his words. No one had ever said anything like that to her. Not teachers, not other students, not anyone. But him. He believed in her strength, even when she didn't fully understand herself. The bullies regrouped, more angry than afraid. "We're done playing games," Crag growled. "Time to show you who's boss." But before they could advance, a small object near them trembled and rolled slightly. The alien girl's power reacted instinctively. She had barely touched it, yet the energy moved outward, shaking things around her. The bully stepped back, startled and scared. The other students stared, wide-eyed, murmuring among themselves. "This isn't fair," one of the bullies shouted, his voice trembling slightly. "She's cheating." "She's not cheating," the boy said quietly, stepping forward. "She's protecting herself. Something you should try learning." The bullies froze. The boy's calm confidence was unsettling, and the alien girl's small display of power added the tension. For the first time, they realized that they were no longer in control. As the morning went on, the tension remained. The bullies tried smaller attacks during breaks, but the girl, with the boy by her side, handled them with ease. Each small push of energy, each calm deflection by the boy, made the bullies increasingly frustrated and afraid. The schoolyard was no longer their playground. During one break, the alien girl wheeled herself to a quiet corner, away from prying eyes. She closed her eyes and concentrated on the small energy pulses beneath her skin. They were like tiny stars, flickering and waiting to be controlled. She could feel them responding to her emotions, her will, and, strangely, to the boy's presence. His calmness seemed to steady her power. "Your hands are shaking," the boy said softly, appearing beside her. She hadn't noticed him approach. "They're not," she replied, trying to sound confident, but he could see through the mask. He reached out, placing a hand near hers, not touching, but close enough that she could feel his presence. "Focus. Small movements. Control it." She nodded, slowly. The energy settled, the flickering dimming to a steady glow. It was a small victory, but it felt significant. She was learning to trust not just him, but herself. The rest of the day passed with small skirmishes, careful tests of courage, and growing understanding. The bullies were cautious now, uncertain, while the alien girl's confidence grew. And through it all, the boy remained by her side, quiet, vigilant, and unwavering by the time the final bell rang. Signaling the end of the day, the alien girl felt a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. She had faced the bullies, used a small fraction of her power, and survived without humiliation. And she had not been alone. The boy had been there, steady, calm, and protective, as they left the school together. She spoke for the first time in days without hesitation. "Why do you help me?" she asked quietly. He looked at her, eyes calm but piercing. "Because no one should be treated the way you are. And because I can." She didn't fully understand his answer, but it didn't matter. It felt right. There was trust in it, small but undeniable. The walk home was quiet, but not uncomfortable. There was a shared understanding between them, a bond forming through action rather than words. She realized that she wasn't as alone as she had thought. That night, lying in her room, she reflected on the day. She had felt power, fear, courage, and trust all intertwined. She knew the bullies were planning something bigger, something crueler, but she also knew she wasn't defenseless. She wasn't alone, and she felt something else. A spark of hope, a sense that things could change, that humans might not all be cruel, and that she could face the challenges ahead with someone by her side. Tomorrow, she knew, would test her again. The bullies would try harder. They would not back down easily. But for the first time, she felt ready. She had strength she hadn't fully realized, and an ally she could trust, perhaps more than she had ever trusted anyone before. The alien girl closed her eyes, the faint glow of her skin dimming in the darkness. The energy within her pulsed softly, a quiet reminder what she could do, what she was capable of. And somewhere in the shadows of her room, a silent promise lingered. She would no longer be a victim. And she wasn't alone anymore. Tomorrow would bring the next test, the next battle, and the next step in her journey. And this time, she would face it with courage, control, and a human boy who believed in her. The day began with a strange, uneasy quiet. The school courtyard was almost empty, the early morning mist curling around the edges of the playground like soft fingers. The alien girl wheeled herself slowly toward the entrance, her hands gripping the wheels tightly. She could feel it. Today was different. Something in the air buzzed, faint but strong, like electricity before a storm. She glanced toward the gate and froze. Crag and his friends were already there, leaning casually against the walls, but their smiles were sharper, colder. There was a glint in Crag's eyes that made her stomach tighten. They were ready. They had learned from the past few days, and they were determined to humiliate her again, this time without mercy. The boy arrived quietly, as usual, standing near the courtyard wall. He didn't approach the bullies, didn't speak. He simply observed, his chestnut eyes scanning for every movement, every hint of attack. The alien girl's heart beat faster, not from fear, but anticipation. He had become her anchor, her calm amidst the storm. As she approached, the bully stepped forward. "Morning, freak," Crag said with venom. "Ready for round whatever?" He waved a hand at the two friends behind him. "Don't get comfortable. Today's going to hurt." The alien girl's hands tingled slightly, a subtle pulse of power beneath her skin. It was small, just enough to feel it, to sense it, but she had not yet learned to use it fully. Today, however, something inside her shifted. She felt a faint glow of energy moving through her body, responding to the tension, the fear, and, strangely, the calm presence of the boy nearby. The bullies lunged at her, trying to snatch her wheelchair, but the boy stepped forward first. His presence alone was enough to force Crag back, even before the alien girl could act. She watched wide-eyed as he calmly deflected their aggressive moves with precise, careful gestures. He didn't fight with anger or strength, but with control, and it was effective. Her hands itched. The small energy pulses beneath her skin wanted release, wanted to push back the bullies, to protect her. She focused, feeling the power respond to her intent. A faint shock of energy rolled outward from her palms, just enough to lift a few small objects, pencils, a fallen notebook, into the air. The bullies froze, their confident sneers faltering. "What the?" one of them muttered, his voice shaking. "She's using something," Crag hissed, stepping back. "No one can do that." The alien girl felt a strange thrill. She had never fully trusted her power, never used it in front of others. And yet, standing there with the boy at her side, she realized she could control it. Not fully, but enough to protect herself and teach these bullies that she wasn't weak. The boy leaned slightly toward her, his voice low but steady. "Keep control. Small movements. Focus on what you can handle." She nodded, concentrating. She sent a gentle pulse of energy toward the bullies. Nothing harmful, just enough to push them backward slightly. Objects around them trembled, papers fluttered, and their balance wavered. Whispers spread through the courtyard. Students who had gathered to watch the confrontation stepped back, eyes wide with disbelief. The bullies were furious, but fear had replaced some of their confidence. They tried again, this time circling her, looking for an opening. But the boy anticipated every move, stepping into the right position, his calm precision giving her space and time to act. Then it happened. Crag lunged with full force, aiming to grab her by the chair. The alien girl acted instinctively. She pushed with both hands, not violently, but with controlled energy. A small burst of light shot outward, striking Crag in the chest. He stumbled back, stunned, as if the world had briefly tipped under his feet. His friends froze, eyes wide, unable to comprehend what had just occurred. The courtyard fell silent. Students whispered, some gasping. The alien girl's heart pounded in her chest. She had revealed a piece of her power, small but undeniable, to the world for the first time, and she hadn't lost control. The boy's eyes met hers, calm and approving. "Good," he said softly. "You're learning." Crag staggered, clutching his chest, his face pale with shock and anger. "This isn't over," he hissed. "You'll pay for this." The alien girl didn't reply. Her hand still glowed faintly, a gentle reminder of her strength. For the first time, she realized she wasn't just defending herself. She was asserting control, showing the bullies that they could not intimidate her anymore. After a tense moment, the bullies retreated, muttering under their breath. They had underestimated her. They had underestimated the boy. And they had not yet realized that this was just a beginning. The alien girl and the boy remained in the courtyard, catching their breath. "Are you okay?" she asked, still processing the adrenaline of the confrontation. He nodded. "You did well. That energy, control, precise, calm, it's a start. You're stronger than you think." She blinked, surprised. No one had ever told her that before. Most people had feared her or mocked her. But he saw her, really saw her. And in that moment, she felt a strange warmth, a mixture of relief, pride, and trust. As they wheeled toward the classroom, the alien girl noticed subtle changes in how other students looked at her. Some were curious, some afraid, but no one dared approach the bullies. For the first time, she felt a shift in the balance of power. She wasn't just a victim anymore. She was someone to be respected, or at least noticed. The rest of the day passed with a cautious calm. The bullies kept their distance, though the threat still lingered. She could feel it in every glance, every whisper. They were planning, scheming, waiting for another chance to strike. But she also felt a newfound confidence. With the boy by her side, she could face whatever came next. During lunch, they found a quiet corner. The boy didn't speak much, but his presence was steady, grounding. She experimented subtly with her energy, lifting a small object, like a pencil, just enough to float it in the air. It wasn't display for others, just a test for herself. "You're getting better," he said quietly. "Control it. Always. Strength is nothing without control." She nodded, understanding. She had power, yes, but she needed control, focus, and trust in herself. And strangely, she realized that trusting the boy helped. His calmness seemed to stabilize her energy, like a quiet anchor in a stormy sea. After school, the bullies attempted another confrontation near the exit. But this time, they were cautious, hesitant. The alien girl and the boy stood side by side, calm and alert. The small display of her power earlier had changed something in them. They knew she wasn't helpless. They knew that she wasn't to be underestimated. "You will get you next time," Crag shouted, trying to mask fear with anger. "Maybe," the boy replied calmly, "but not today." The alien girl wheeled forward, her heart steady. For the first time, she felt a sense of control she had never known. She wasn't just surviving anymore. She was learning, growing, and asserting herself. That night, she lay in her room, thinking about the day. Her hands tingled faintly, a reminder of the power within her. She realized that her abilities were not just for defense. They could be a way to change her world, to protect herself, and perhaps, one day, to help others. And the boy, she thought about him. He had been calm, steady, and protected without ever demanding attention. He had seen her strength before she had fully trusted it herself. For the first time, she felt that she wasn't alone. Not really. There was someone she could rely on, someone who believed in her. Tomorrow would be another day. The bullies would continue plot, to test her limits. But she was ready. She had power, control, and an ally. And for the first time, she felt something extraordinary. Hope. And she wasn't alone anymore. The school courtyard was unusually quiet that morning. A chill hung in the air, and the clouds above seemed heavier than usual, gray and low, as if they, too, sensed what was coming. The alien girl wheeled herself toward the school entrance, her silver hair shimmering faintly in the cold light. Her hands were steady on the wheels, but her heart pounded with anticipation. Today, she knew, would not be like the others. Crag and his friends waited, their faces dark with anger. They had spent the last few days plotting their revenge, determined to humiliate her one last time. Their smirks were forced, and the confidence they once carried had been chipped away by the small but undeniable victories of the alien girl and the boy. They wanted control, and they wanted it now. The boy arrived quietly, his chestnut hair messy from the morning breeze. He didn't need to announce himself. The alien girl felt the calm radiating from him like a shield, steadying her own pulse. He didn't speak, but she understood. Together, they could face whatever came next. As they neared the bullies, Crag stepped forward first, his voice sharp and full of malice. "Morning, freak. Ready for your last lesson? Today, You'll regret ever thinking you're strong. The alien girl's hands tingled faintly. The small pulses of energy beneath her skin responded instinctively, ready to protect, ready to strike. But she remembered the boy's words from before. Control, focus, precision. This was not about anger. This was about balance, strategy, and courage. The bullies lunged immediately, trying to grab her wheelchair. The boy moved like a shadow, his calm precision guiding them away from her. His stance was firm, his eyes sharp, anticipating every move. The alien girl mirrored him, her energy pulsing subtly, objects nearby trembling with invisible force. Crag struck first, aiming a kick at the chair. The alien girl reacted instinctively, extending her hands. A small surge of energy erupted, not enough to harm, but enough to push him off balance. Papers flew into the air, and the students watching gasped. The courtyard was tense, all eyes on the confrontation. You think this will stop us? Crag growled, regaining his balance. The alien girl said nothing. She wheeled forward, her movements precise, controlled. The boy stayed beside her, guiding, protecting, and coordinating silently. Their teamwork was seamless, almost instinctive. Crag and his friends tried again, circling, looking for an opening. But every attempt was anticipated. The boy deflected. The alien girl controlled her energy pulses, and small objects shifted subtly to block or distract. The students watching whispered among themselves. Something extraordinary was happening. The bullies had underestimated her, underestimated them both. Then Crag made a bold move. He rushed toward the alien girl, trying to snatch her chair from behind. The alien girl reacted instinctively, her hands glowing faintly. A pulse of energy shot out, not harming, but creating a strong force that knocked him back several steps. His friends gasped, fear creeping into their eyes for the first time. "You, what are you?" one of them whispered. The boy's voice was calm, almost chilling. "She's not what you think. And neither am I." The alien girl felt a surge of confidence. The fear she had carried for years, the weight of constant bullying, the isolation, it was all dissolving. She wasn't alone. She had strength, she had control, and she had someone who believed in her. The bullies hesitated, unsure how to proceed. Crag's face twisted with frustration and fear. Their earlier cruelty, their constant plotting, had prepared them for no such opposition. They had met someone, or rather, two someones, who would not bend or break. Seeing their hesitation, the alien girl decided to take another step. She focused, extending a small wave of energy that floated objects in the air around them. Pencils, papers, a forgotten lunch tray. Nothing dangerous, just enough to show that she could defend herself without harm. The students watching gasped in amazement. Some whispered words of encouragement. Others stepped back, wary of the strange energy around her. Crag, seeing that his intimidation had failed, tried a final desperate tactic. Enough! Grab her now. But the boy had anticipated it. He moved quickly, positioning himself between the bullies and the alien girl. His calm, precise movements made it impossible for them to reach her. The alien girl, feeling the protective aura from him, extended her hands, releasing controlled pulse of energy that pushed all three bullies back simultaneously. They stumbled, colliding with each other, disoriented and shocked. The courtyard fell silent. Even the teachers watching from the windows were startled. No one had seen such control, such power, combined with precision and courage. The alien girl's chest heaved slightly, not from fear, but from the thrill of victory, from the realization that she had finally found her strength. The bullies looked at each other, pale and shaken. Their smirks were gone, replaced by a mix of fear, frustration, and disbelief. Crag glared at the girl, and the boy, his jaw tight. "This isn't over," he hissed. The alien girl tilted her head slightly, a small, confident smile forming. "It is for today," she said softly. The boy nodded, a small smile of his own appearing. "And probably for a long time," he added. For the first time, the alien girl felt a sense of freedom. She had faced the bullies, controlled her power, and stood firm with someone who believed in her. She wasn't just surviving anymore. She was respected, and more importantly, she had earned it through courage, control, and determination. The rest of the day passed with a calm she had never known. The bullies kept their distance, whispering behind closed doors, planning nothing. The alien girl wheeled herself to the halls with quiet confidence. The boy always nearby, silent but protective. Other students whispered, curious, respectful, or cautious, but no one dared approach with malice. By the time the final bell rang, signaling the end of the school day, the alien girl felt a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. She had faced fear, learned control, and discovered a strange, powerful bond of trust. The boy walked beside her as they left the building, his presence a calm anchor in her life. "Are you okay?" he asked, looking down at her. She nodded, a soft smile spreading across her face. "I think I am," she said. "Thanks to you." He shook his head gently. "No, this was all you. I only helped. You see it." The alien girl's heart warmed at his words. No one had ever said such a thing before. Most humans had mocked her, feared her, or ignored her. But he saw her. He believed in her strength, even when she did not fully trust herself. As they parted ways at the school gate, she paused. "Tomorrow will be okay?" she asked quietly. He smiled, faint but reassuring. "Yes, and if it's not, we'll handle it together." The alien girl wheeled home, feeling lighter than she had in years. The fear, the isolation, the constant bullying, they had not disappeared completely, but they had lost their power over her. She had grown stronger, more confident, and had found a human friend she could trust. That night, lying in her small room, she reflected on the events of the past days. Her hands glowed faintly in the dark, a soft reminder of the power she carried, controlled and precise. She had learned that strength was not only about raw energy, it was about control, courage, and trust. And most importantly, it was about knowing that she was not alone. Somewhere, beyond the walls of her room, the bullies would continue to plot, but the alien girl no longer feared them. She knew her power, she knew her courage, and she knew the boy would stand by her side. Together, they could face anything. The alien girl closed her eyes, a smile on her face. For the first time, she felt a sense of true belonging. She had survived. She had fought. She had won respect. And more than that, she had found a friend she could trust. A human boy who had changed her world forever. The night settled softly over the town, calm and quiet. The alien girl's faint glow dimmed as she drifted into sleep. Dreams filled with hope, courage, and the promise of a future where she could finally be herself. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, yes, but she was ready. And this time, she wouldn't face them alone. She was strong. She was confident. And she was no longer alone. The turning point had arrived.